Apple is, at this point, really the only holdout in terms of delivering Flash Player in the browser. I mean, that is their choice. I think at this point, we've shown very clearly that Flash Player can't actually run quite well in the browser. But on that AIR note, specifically around the applications perspective, if you wanted to take that to the next step and leverage the device functionality, things like easily leverage the GPS or store files on the server or on the device, or access the camera, or access the accelerometer, or access the contacts, all those different types of things you would normally want to do as a native application on the device, you can certainly do that. And so how do you produce applications that run in Flash Player or AIR as applications? And there's a couple different answers there. One is Flash Professional. So Flash Professional CS 5.5, so 5.5, so it's also been developed for mobile. So if you're familiar with Flash Professional, you can certainly leverage that technology to produce content. I'm going to go kind of the other way, which is the more developer-centric route, which is using our Flash Builder technology. So Flash Builder is an IDE based on Eclipse, and it gives us a way to develop Flash content. We can develop Flash content using strictly just the language, the ActionScript language that is part of the runtimes, or we can use that language in conjunction with a framework that will help us out. So just like jQuery Mobile helps us out in the world of building lists and searchable, filterable content and moving from page to page, in the world of Flash, there's a framework that lets us do that as well, and that's called the Flex framework. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new project here, and it's going to be a Flex Mobile project. And the reason it's a Flex Mobile project is because we're using Flash Builder. We're going to author Flash content from a developer perspective, but we're going to use that Flex framework to leverage, be able to build views with screens that come on and off, and so on and so forth. So we'll call this for a demo. Let me put it out here. I created a folder for stuff on the desktop. Put it right in there. We'll go next. Probably my favorite screen in Flash Builder 4.5.1 is, there's that 5 again. So it is the target platform. So from this application, we can publish for iOS, for tablet, for BlackBerry OS, and for Google Android, all in one shot. We can choose also to have helpers baked in for us. We can give a view-based application, which is the middle one that's selected there. We can choose just to go a la carte and just put our own stuff on there. Or we can use a tabbed application being kind of the ones that have the little bar at the bottom that we can navigate and work with. Down here, we can automatically scale applications for different display densities. We can adapt to whether we want a full screen with that title bar at the top or not, all from one code base. So go ahead and say, we'll just leave those default settings. We'll say server settings. In this case, I'm not actually going to use any server technologies, but Flash Builder is very aware of things like Java, PHP. It can integrate very well with those. You'll see a little more of that here in just a minute. And then we'll just go ahead and finish. So very much like Dreamweaver did, again, we're really in the market of trying to help you whatever path you may choose. So very much like Dreamweaver did, Flash Builder has set us up with a default project. When I go to run this for the first time, it's going to say, you haven't told me where you want to run it. Because remember, guy, you told me you could run this on different devices. So in this case, we say, oh, you know what, I want to run it on, for example, iOS. We'll emulate it on the desktop, and specifically, we'll run it to keep it to fit to this screen. We'll say a 3GS. Say apply, run. And it's going to go ahead and launch it. So voila. Now, there's nothing there at this point. We're going to fix that in a minute, but we're off to the races. And if we hit the export release button up here at the top, it'll say which ones do you want to export for, iOS, tablet, and Google Android. And so while this is a nothing application, at this point we can essentially run this deployment. It will package it up. It'll give me an APK for the Android market. It'll give me an app file for the iTunes market, and it'll give me a bar file, which is for the tablet, for the PlayBook market. I won't go that far in this particular instance, but what I did want to do is go ahead and build a little something. I need a list to display the sessions here. I want to position it in the world of this screen. So it's going to be 0 pixels off the left, 0 pixels off the right, 0 pixels from the top, and 0 pixels from the bottom. Essentially stretched to fit whatever screen resolution you might be delivering to. Because keep in mind, we can't just say fit this on a 320 or a 480 or a 1024 or a what have you. We need to be able to kind of fit the view that's available. So we'll go ahead and use this kind of elastic sizing to fix that for us. And then I want to be able to access data. Now you can access data in a couple different approaches. There's a very granular approach, which is instantiate all the Flash libraries necessary to do that. What I'm actually going to do is use a feature that came in Flash Builder 4, which is called Connect to Data Service. And so if I click on this, you can see that it actually says, hey, what kind of data service do you want to connect to? You want to connect to Cold Fusion, Lifecycle Data Services, just an HTTP call? Is it XML data? Is it web service? Is it PHP? And depending on some of these guys, for example, if I select PHP, it will actually go onto the PHP server, build all the PHP classes necessary from where you interact with a specific database table. It is very intelligent. I'm only going to show you a very small fraction of this. We're just going to say, hey, give me this XML. That's the data I'll be working with. I'm going to use a URL, and I'm going to go from my website again. Go ahead and invoke that. Go out, reach the XML, pull it back, take a look at it. And it says, which node are you interested in? In this case, I'm interested in the sessions node, which is an array of sessions. And then we'll go ahead and finish that up. And so what it's going to do now is build all the kind of handler classes for managing that data, so I don't have to really think about it much. Notice down here, it's actually giving me a method called getData, which is going to return an array of session objects, and it's actually even created for me a session object, and I can actually see the properties on those session objects. So it's created everything for me out of the box. I'm going to come in here to my design view, and let's go ahead and collapse my data types here. Too big. Through it in practice, it works just great. That's strange. Well, okay. That's unfortunate. Wow. What did I do wrong there? Huh. So normally what would happen is I would actually see the display here. I'm not really sure why that's missing. And then I can just simply take the method, drag and drop it, and tell it to invoke that. And then it would tell me, hey, what do you want to invoke it on? What are you trying to connect to? And it would show me, it would go ahead and patch all that code together for me. Why it's not working, which is why it's a good experience for someone to do. You'll have backups. And go ahead and open up the finished one. So in this case, this is the finished one that takes it to the kind of the same next level that the jQuery mobile one did. And you can kind of see what I was talking about here. It builds in these, what's called a responder. These calls off to the server to get data are happening asynchronously. It goes ahead and gets that data, and then when the data is back and ready to be parsed or dealt with, we can go ahead and get an event from the call responder. The data actually resides in the call responder. There's all kinds of fun details that go on there. But here's that list I was going with, and I've done some customization to the overall display around this. You can see it, look, there we go. So hey, you're your mobile, my mobile is off we are. So same kind of functionality in this case as we saw with the Dreamweaver approach, in this case with the Flash approach. And at this point, you notice I'm running here locally, which is really great because I don't have to worry about an emulator. For example, debugging on the Android emulator is horribly slow. And it's a horrible environment to have to debug in. So being able to run it and work with it here locally in its own little AIR emulator, great production value. Get to market much faster that way. We can also work about breakpoints. But one of the cool things about Flash Builder is it lets us actually deploy this to the device, whether it's iOS, BlackBerry, or Android, and it will actually debug on the device. And so we can actually interact with it on the device, see it on the device, move, tap events, and then wherever it hits a breakpoint, we'll then pop the code will pop up, and we'll be able to see all the different properties and values and memory traces and so on and so forth that we need to look at in the actual display, in the actual IDE. So we get round trip kind of debugging in that respect.